I think people down here was waiting for something to champion them, just because we come from a place with two of the biggest movements in hip hop history.
Yeah.
Let's add three. I'm gonna give Jet Life one of them. He might not have did it on a commercial level as big as them, but with Jet Life, heavy. I carry that energy with me, you know what I mean? And you can speak to it. You see how when I come down here, we be going around in groups. You know what I mean? I try my best to keep it CBR, CGB. It used to be like that back in the day. Surf Club, OVO, Dreamville. It's always been Young Money, Cash Money. You know what I mean? I kind of come up from under that. You know what I mean? Polo to Don, Zone 4, Surf Club. I think protocol is a good thing. I feel like a lot of these youngsters don't really know about a lot of that. They just so focused on their own thing.
So enlighten me a little bit, because you just dropped a lot of names. So briefly, you could just take me through how you transitioned into being, in the city to becoming someone that's into the music scene in the city. Because because New Orleans is big in music.
Yeah, it started for me. Really, when I started music, it was a school thing. You know what I mean? I was in school at the time, so it was like talent shows. And then once we got out of high school, Katrina hit. So I had peeled out and went to LA. I was coming back and forth, and when I was coming back, there was certain things like L was throwing events and stuff like that. On Point L, shout out to him. He was doing a little get-togethers. Bonka and all them dudes, the goons, they was doing shows, you know what I mean? People was getting back into the swing of things, and I really just came back and just started being a witness to whatever was happening in the city. And then once I started seeing what was going on, I started seeing who was directing the videos. At that time, B-Mike was shooting videos. I had seen him shoot a video for LG that was really, really hard called Untitled. And I thought that video was hard. LG had a project called Cinco out that was really, really good.
I remember that.
And it was just like a lot of bubbling talent. The Made Groceries, so a couple of the guys from Made Groceries was in like a bigger collective called like Revolution or something like that. It was something like that. But they was doing their thing. Chelsea was rapping. It was just like a bunch of young talent. They wasn't really on the level I was on, no disrespect, because I was already in the industry, but I was seeing like how certain people down here was taking it upon themselves to like be proactive with the music. So I just started coming back, paying attention to that shit. I end up working with LG, giving him a beat or two or some shit like that, a couple more people in the city. And then I moved back. When I moved back, I feel like the city didn't really have no infrastructure. Everybody was doing their thing. Even around the time I met you, you know what I mean? You was doing what you was doing, but I feel like a lot of people they hadn't been through the channels I had been through, as far as like reinventing themselves and in the industry, you know what I mean? Being able to like infrastructure, scale a business. And so I ended up going to this thing that Gus had. Matter of fact, it really started from Alexis throwing the NOLA Summer League. When she threw the NOLA Summer League, it brought so many people together that I would have never came across, because I was in and out. So I ended up meeting different people who was all representing their brands and whatnot, or whoever they was affiliated with at that time. And then from there, Gus was throwing shows at the time. He was doing some of the shows.
Yeah.
BTY was still alive, so he was doing his thing. We was all working at KC Studio, so that's how a lot of that came into play too. So I think a lot of people started getting to see me in a way that wasn't distant. And I wasn't necessarily competing with them. I think the best thing about it was I had so much of this success in other places. Down here wasn't really that familiar with it. So it kind of like allowed me to come down and meet them at a certain level where it was like, I'm not trying to stun on y'all. I'm just trying to let y'all know this is what I did to make sure it work for me. Let's see if y'all could do the same thing in New Orleans. You feel me? So being in the studio, linking with people like KC was working with damn near everybody. So sessions would just clash. I end up meeting people like Jay Jones. I end up meeting people like BTY. I end up meeting you name it, endless talent just over at KC Studio, where I feel like people started, if they had heard of me, they got to get a genuine reflection of me. And if they never heard of me, they got to get a clear perception of somebody they never heard of. But they probably was like, Chasing K, I never met the nigga, or I don't be seeing it down here like that. They got a chance to meet me. Then they also got a chance to see like, oh, this ain't like no uppity ass. You feel me? So with that came starting the We Never Close series, you know what I mean? And just being able to be like, let me work with somebody down here that's down here full time. From working with Gus, that led into working with you, shooting the videos, shooting the documentary. And then I think that led into people being able to see that on an artist tip, they didn't need nobody to champion them. I think people down here was waiting for something to champion them, just because we come from a place with two of the biggest movements in hip hop history. Let's add three. I'm gonna give Jet Life one of them. He might not have did it on a commercial level as big as them, but with Jet Life, heavy. He's a movement in the game. So I think the city got to a point where it was almost like, I can't speak for Spitter. I just know how it is. When you like when you got the thing that's moving, it's almost like you the one that's given the opportunity. Right. And it can seem like you supposed to be the person to find the next person, or they supposed to come through your doors, or you supposed to have some sort of hand in developing that. And that can kind of be unfair. I felt like me coming back as a producer, that was more something I could actually have a hand in. He don't produce, you know what I mean? Right, exactly. He artist, you know what I mean? So he could give the formula and how he move and how he carry himself. But yeah, but he go, like, if he hear a different producer, he gonna jump on that beat too. So I think as a producer, I had a different insight that I could be able to provide to people, because it was how could they present themselves? How could they make themselves be in the best possible position for if they ran into somebody such as yourself, or if they actually ran into somebody like me and offered them an opportunity, they would be ready. You know what I mean? You see how niggas like Larry, they get success and they want to give back. I feel like that one dude that you posted, the dude that made the countdown, that one Larry thing, that video was hard. You see, when I checked this video out, that shit was hard. So it seemed like that's preparation meeting opportunity. Somebody else could have got that, but if the video wasn't that good, you know what I mean? So I think that's a lot of where New Orleans is right now, where like a lot of people are getting, they more well prepared than before. Facts. That's how you getting the weed junkies. That's how you getting the Labizos, the Lacos, Be Fresh. You know what I mean? All these niggas, man, they more well prepared. And I'm not gonna say I had an influence on all that shit, because I haven't directly worked with all of them. But I can say, I think from a standpoint, I know enough that I have touched that do work with them, or the platforms that they is with, the loyalty clubs, you know what I mean? Me and Blake, we all know each other from some way, and we've all communicated to each other. You know what I mean? So to see what Loyalty Club doing with them having Matt Fresh host, that's on some Rap City type stuff in New Orleans. We need that type of shit. Then you got Free Water doing what they doing. They got a show tonight, you know what I mean? They got the whole where they got OG Madi and they with, and Free Water Studios providing a place for everybody to get a different look on the right. I remember when they was over there with Cody at like sushi and shit like that, you feel me? I think that was the best thing, where I was able to come back and be able to, like, whether I got super close bonds with them or I just was able to communicate with them and introduce myself to them and be like, look, I see what you're doing. I f your shit. I'm rooting for you. And when I see your shit, I'm going to retweet your shit. I'm going to post your shit. Right. You know what I mean? Because I can't say that I'm best friends with Free Water and them, but I love what they do. Definitely. Anytime I see them do something, I'm paying attention to it. I'm retweeting. I RSVP, even if I can't show up. Because I be wanting to see if it's some shit that they do that's some interactive flyer or some shit. Because they very, very creative with that type of shit. So I think more than ever, you know what I mean? New Orleans is in a space where preparation is meeting opportunity, and I think we are starting to create the opportunities instead of waiting on them. You know what I mean? And that's the thing coming from where, like, you got Newtral Groundz, you know what I mean? And then you got Lil Egg and Rice doing his shit with the videos, and then you got you got Private Billions and all them doing they shit, Nico bands and all that shit. You know what I mean? It's a bunch of little movements. You know what I mean? And I think now we in a space where like we not relying on Q93 or just one outlet to put us out.
Decentralized.
That's why I think that we can finally start coming together.